of understanding that we signed with Bulgaria. And I was able to do that with Congressman Wilson. He was the head of the caucus in the House for relationships with Bulgaria, and I got to meet the ambassador, and that's when they had just joined the EU and started opening up their markets to free market economy. So that was just a special day for me. I want to be here again to ask you for your support and ask you to get out and tell folks to get to the polls. This is a very important election, and I want to tell you a little bit about my opponent and some things that she has said over the course of this campaign. We've met on a couple of occasions, and both times she has said, well, the Secretary of State's office is just an administrative office. Why does he talk so much about legislation? Well, there's more to the office. There is a lot of administrative functions to your Secretary of State's office, but then again, there's a lot of things to do with legislation, and that's why we need folks like Joan Brady and Kenny and Nathan and Senator Corson, and I don't want to forget anyone because there's a lot of legislation that I personally worked on that's been very beneficial to the Secretary of State's office and the state of South Carolina. And the first one that comes to mind is UETA, the Uniform Electronic Transaction Act. And what that did was that opened up the door for electronic filings here in the state of South Carolina. Through UETA, we were able to create our South Carolina Business One Stop, which has been a tremendous success here. We have about 23% of new businesses now that are incorporating or doing that online, saving them time, saving them money, and saving taxpayers money, because that information goes straight into our database, and it helps us as far as being able to do more work with less personnel. And with these budget cuts, believe me, we have less personnel right now in all of state agencies. We were able to work with the legislature and pass H 4250, which totally revised the corporate code here in the state of South Carolina, made it easier for corporations to merge, made it more of a business-friendly state. And one thing, you know, people talk about streamlining, they talk about transparency, they talk about saving money. Well, I was actually able to eliminate the LLC annual report, an annual filing that has saved businesses, especially small businesses, a lot of time and a lot of money filing that every year in the Secretary of State's office. All those are very important. John talked about LCI. Well, just 2 or 3 years ago now, LCI passed out of their committee a bill that placed cable franchising in the Secretary of State's now, which streamlined that process. Any cable company now, Time Warner, Comcast, all these large companies that want to provide service in these municipalities now, instead of going to each little municipality, each county government placed the Secretary of State's office on notice. We notify those municipalities, and once they work their agreements out, then the Secretary of State now issues cable franchising authority, and that's speeded up that process by leaps and bounds. So legislation is very, very important.